Domestic resource mobilization and remittances will be central in raising required resources for development, but they also need to be complemented by a redemption of the pledges of aid to Africa, as well as a reduction in illicit financial outflows from Africa. I am pleased to report that in this regard, the high-level panel on this matter, which the ministers mandated us to create last year, has commenced work under the able and credible leadership of former President Thabo Mbeki of South Africa. Permit me at this stage to repeat my firmly held belief that the successful attainment of Africa's potential rests squarely on the implementation of its regional integration agenda. This will continue to require debate, transboundary cooperation, and institutional strengthening. It will also mean unwavering adherence to our shared values, the process of which we continue to monitor and track through credible African-led instruments, particularly African peer review mechanism and the mutual review of development effectiveness, co-published by ECA and the OECD. The regional dimension of development remains critical for Africa, as normative work and consensus building at this level also underpin harmonization of policies and shared values. We continue to monitor and to track the progress in regional integration through our annual publication area, which we do in full collaboration with the African Union Commission. Flowing directly from such work is the implementation of programs designed to overcome the numerous challenges that threaten the continent's long-term prosperity, such as the large infrastructure deficit and low level of intra-African trade. A concerted effort will be required to implement the Program for Infrastructure Development in Africa, PIDA, in a manner that supports the proposed continental free trade, which was extensively deliberated upon by the January 2012 AU Summit on Inter-African Trade. The African Trade Policy Center will continue to support the preparatory work for the establishment of the free trade, the continental free trade area. All our efforts at development will come to naught if they are not supported by international processes, which is why we work very closely with partners to support African negotiators in the ongoing climate change negotiations. The African Climate Policy Center became fully operational, and we assist member states in fashioning climate change policies, particularly in the areas of adaptation. Moreover, we hosted the African Preparatory Meeting for Rio +20 here in Addis Ababa, and the chairman made reference to that last October, and are working closely with all stakeholders to prepare for the conference, which will be held some the last week of June this year. As deliberations at this meeting showed last year, Africa welcomes the concept of the green economy so long as we are supported in meeting costs and overcoming constraints. The poor management of natural resources is closely related to the matter of sustainable development. As our continent continues its growth trajectory, it will be imperative to manage increasing materials intensity as well as resource rents from extractive industries. This was the reasoning behind the adoption of the African Mining Vision by the African Union Summit in 2009, and which is also guiding the establishment of an African Minerals Development Center at ECA during the course of this year. The 8th Africa Development Forum, of which you are all aware, will be taking place in October this year, last week of October, on the theme of governing and harnessing natural resources for Africa's development, and will lend momentum to this process. The strategic use of partnerships continue to define our work, and last year was no different. We nurtured and built on our special relationship with the African Union and the African Development Bank, as attested to the joint delivery of products and activities and operationalization of the joint Secretariat Support Office. Our relationship with the rest of the UN system similarly remains robust, and the 2011 Regional Coordination Mechanism for Africa focused on capacity building in support of the African Union, the NEPAD Planning and Coordination Agency, and the regional economic communities. I am particularly pleased with the high presence of my colleagues from the UN system, and I particularly also want to welcome them and look forward to their supporting you in the deliberations over the next few days. Our bilateral partners have really been a source of great support and encouragement, and it will be remiss if I do not single out some of them, such as Canada, Denmark, the European Union, Finland, Norway, Sweden, and the United Kingdom, for special mention due to the scale and constancy of their support for the ECA 2010-2012 business plan, which was closely aligned to the AU 2009-2012 strategic plan. We also salute the United States of America for their re-engagement with the ECA during the last visit of Secretary of State Hillary Clinton here in Addis Ababa. We'll be starting another business plan cycle later this year, and I'm optimistic that we can continue to count on the support of this and other partners for similar success during the course of this new business plan. In a related context, we welcome the outcome of the 4th high-level forum on debt aid effectiveness held in Busan, South Korea, as meaningful contribution to efforts to reshape the nature of development cooperation. Let me end my brief statement by reaffirming our firm belief in Africa's prospects, as well as in the ability of this gathering of Africa's leading finance and development experts through your deliberations to help chart the course as we strive to build an Africa that takes its rightful place in global affairs and contributes its quota to the global development. Let me wish you successful deliberations. Once again, welcome you to Addis Ababa, and thank you for your kind attention.